All right, guys, so today is Tuesday and May 19th, and your guys' assignment for today is to complete pages 701, 702, numbers 1 through 8, and then don't forget to submit via Google Classroom under assignments. So I went ahead and posted a blank copy of the practice from pages 701, 702. If you lost your book, you can just write them on a separate piece of paper and then take a picture of them, scan them in that way, and you'll be set. But one thing I want to be clear is please read the directions. So if you look here, we're talking about the power of the discriminant. Last week we were working on the formula of b squared minus 4ac. If it is equal to 0, that means there's one real root. If b squared minus 4ac equaled a negative number, then there was no real solution. And if b squared minus 4ac equaled a positive number, then there was exactly two real roots. So in these directions, it says to don't solve it, because I haven't taught you how to solve using the quadratic formula. That'll happen on Thursday. It says determine the number of real solutions for each quadratic equation. So what it really wants you to do is, we're going to pick up where we left off on last week's video, is we're going to practice b squared minus 4ac and determine if it's a positive, negative, or a 0. That's all we're going to do. And that will tell us the number of real solutions if they exist at all. So, for example, I do want you to show work b squared minus 4 times a times c, and make sure you're plugging in your b, which is a negative 4. This is your a, this is your b, and this is your c. B squared minus 4 times a, which is 1, times c, which is 3. Okay, and simplify. So for example here, it's going to be a negative 4 times a negative 4 is a positive 16, and then we like to simplify this together if you recall from last week. And negative 4 times 1 is a negative 4, times 3 is a negative 12. So when you simplify b squared minus 4ac, this simplifies to a positive 4. Since this is a positive number, that means that there are two real roots. Okay, so that's the work that I expect to see. Just because it says without solving, you're not solving for the actual roots, you're just determining the number of real solutions. So don't forget, for all of these, make sure everything is set equal to 0 before you begin. So I will get you started on the second problem here. I want to line up like terms and move everything to the left. Just seems a little bit easier that way. So I'm going to go ahead and add 4n in order to move it over here. And then I'm going to subtract 5 in order to move it over to the left side and lining up like terms. So when I kind of do this, I'm going to bring down the 2n squared. Now I added 4n to each side in order to move the negative 4n to the left side. So this is a positive 4n. And then I had to subtract 5 from each side in order to get rid of the positive 5, excuse me. So 7 minus 5 is a positive 2, and now everything is set equal to 0. So your a is 2, your b is 4, and your c is a positive 2. And now you can go ahead and proceed by going b, sometimes it's easier if you see the formula, b squared minus 4 times a times c. So you're going to go b squared minus 4 times a times c, and you're going to go ahead and plug in those values. And remember, see this as 1 negative. And your cheat sheet is right up here. So that's what you're going to do for numbers 1, 2, 3, 4. And just to walk you through this, since there's only 2 terms for number 3 on the left side, you can just move them to the right. So I'm going to add 3x squared, add 3x squared, and then I'm going to subtract x, and now when I simplify, because I'm moving everything to the right since there's more terms on the right, so then I'm going to go ahead and add, and I get these cancel out, so I get 0 equals, I'm going to go ahead and simplify them in standard form. So I'm going to go 3x squared, take away 1x squared is 2x squared. Then I'm going to go on to the next term. 2x minus 1x is a positive 1x. And then you have the 5 at the end. So you have b squared minus 4 times a times c. So b squared minus 4 times a times c. You can continue. Your b is 1. Your a is 2. And your c is the constant. All right, so don't forget to finish and determine if it's a negative number once you're done simplifying, a positive, or if it's 0. All right, so again, moving, you can pause it if you want to finish these problems as you go. Don't forget, in this case, I would subtract 4q, and then I would go ahead and subtract 7 so that everything is equal to 0. All right, for these other 4 problems, based on the graph of each quadratic function, y equals f of x, determine the number of real solutions for each corresponding quadratic equation. So what you're focusing on is your x-axis, and does your graph touch? So because the vertex is at the x-axis, determine the number of real solutions for each corresponding. Well, here there's one real root, we'll call it, which is at x equals 0. You don't have to tell me what it is. Here, you want to ask yourself, does the graph touch the x-axis? And if it doesn't, what does that mean? Here's your x-axis here. Again, does your graph touch the x-axis, and in how many points? And lastly, does the graph touch the x-axis and how many times? So, all right, guys, I'm going ahead and helped you with your practice for today. On Thursday, we're going to go ahead and put all of this together to use the entire quadratic formula to determine how many solutions exist, and then we're going to determine what they are. So we'll talk to you on Thursday.